Man, Errol Spence Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford came face to face. We all seen the footage, man. E News, great work by Ellie Setback. Ellie Setback be doing some great work, man. But Errol Spence ducked Terrence Crawford face to face. Errol Spence ducked this man face to face, man. He's now look. I didn't really catch this the first time. What's up, Zone? I ain't catch this the first time, man. But Errol Spence named some opponents. Terrence Crawford said that Al Heyman named me as an opponent. This is what Errol Spence said. No, he said I can fight Pacquiao. I can fight. I'm fighting Mikey Garcia. I can fight Keith Thurman. I can fight Sean Porter. So all those fights right there put Terrence Crawford 2 years away. All those fights that Errol Spence is not going to fight all them fights back to back. We all know that. He's not going to fight those guys back to back to back to back. So he's talking about fighting Terrence Crawford in 2021. Like I told y'all, he trying to wait Terrence Crawford out. You got to slow down some, man. The foot speed is too much for me. The skills are too much. You too fast for me. Terrence Crawford, we all know. And Errol Spence knows. That's why in this little standoff that they had, all Errol Spence kept saying was, "You're too small. You're too small. I'm going to crush you." He said, "You're too small. I'm going to crush you." Errol Spence is banking on that he's too big for Terrence Crawford, and he's not. He's not. He's just all you doing is walking around out of shape in between fights. That doesn't mean you're that much bigger than Terrence Crawford because you walking around out of shape. Terrence Crawford is close to his fighting weight. Terrence Crawford looked probably about 155, 160 right there. Terrence Crawford doesn't look that much bigger than outside of his weight. Errol Spence, you look like you're every bit of 185 and looking pudgy in the face. And you saying, I'm not one time did I hear Errol Spence say I'm gonna beat you because of my skills. I didn't hear. He said I'm gonna beat you because I'm bigger than you. And we all seen guys come up and wait and beat bigger guys. So we know that from the experience. If you watch boxing enough, you know that being big is not gonna win you the fight. Just being, and he said, "Well, I'm the harder puncher. I punch harder than you." Okay. Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson punched harder than Buster Douglas. How did that end up? George Foreman punched way harder than Ali. How did that end up? So just being able to punch somebody hard, it doesn't equate to you winning the fight. You better bring some skill to the table. And we know you don't bring that to the table. We know you don't bring more than that to the table. And I don't care what nobody say. You're not going to be able to dress this up. This man openly ducked this man right in front of his face. And then Terrence Crawford said, then Errol Spence said, "I'm the boogeyman. I'm the boogeyman." Terrence Crawford said, "Nigga, how you the boogeyman and I'm chasing you? The boogeyman don't get chased, Mr. Errol Spence Jr. Oh, Mr. Duck Down Errol Spence Jr. The boogeyman, you don't chase the boogeyman. None of the movies I see the boogeyman being chased. I don't see Michael Myers being chased. I see Michael Myers chasing everybody else, and everybody else is scrambling. But you got somebody chasing you. See, you rather pull up on an injured Keith Thurman because you know Keith Thurman is injured. You rather push up on him, even though I think Keith Thurman will handle that business when Keith Thurman get back right. You rather push up on Sean Porter. You said Sean Porter was easy. You said what? And then another thing that's telling, like, look, if you let a man talk long enough, if you want the truth out of him, eventually he's going to reveal the truth to you if you just let him talk. This man said, why not take the easy route and fight Sean Porter? Because guess what Terrence Crawford said? Terrence Crawford said, "You told me when I get a belt that you was going to fight me." Errol Spence didn't have nothing to say. He said, "Okay, I got a belt now." He said, and then Errol Spence said, "Why not take the easy route and fight Sean Porter first because he has a belt too?" Man, are you serious? Is this the dude y'all calling the boogeyman? Y'all better reassess who y'all think the boogeyman is. Like I told y'all, there's no boogeymans in boxing, period. None of these guys are boogeyman. All of these guys got work to do. They all got work to do. There is no boogeyman. Just when you think somebody's the boogeyman gets knocked out in boxing. The boogeyman ends up getting knocked out in boxing. You know, George Foreman was on his back getting up. Tyson was on his back getting up from Buster Douglas. You know what I'm saying? The boogeyman gets knocked out in boxing. When you walk around thinking you the boogeyman, think you the big bad wolf, thinking you the bully, eventually somebody comes up who you can't bully, who doesn't buy into that. See, Terrence Crawford don't buy into that whole boogeyman bull crap because it's bull crap. He doesn't buy into that whole narrative that, oh, he's a, no. You're not the, he said, how are you the boogeyman and I'm chasing you? Man, Errol Spence, man. You have to be one of the biggest duckers in history. Now, look, you're not the only one to ever duck somebody. We all know that. But my thing is this, you've been hyped as the boogeyman. So you're not supposed, you said strap season. That means everybody, Terence Crawford got a strap, just like Keith Thurman got a strap, just like Sean Porter got a strap. And you keep saying those guys are avoiding you. So if they're avoiding you after you fight Mikey Garcia, if you get past Mikey Garcia, which I think that's going to be, see, all this stuff is going to come to a head in the Mikey Garcia fight, I believe. I believe Mikey Garcia is going to go 12 rounds and Mikey Garcia is going to win some rounds. And Mikey Garcia may win enough rounds to his supporters going to say, man, I believe Mikey Garcia won the fight. And more of the banana peel is going to be coming off that boogeyman persona. Because Errol Spence, look, man, Errol Spence is a basic fighter, man. Not taking anything away from him. Not pouring salt on his career. He's a basic fighter. He's an Antonio Margarito. That's what he is. And people don't understand and don't know that Errol Spence was trained and brought up in a Mexican gym. He even said he was brought up in a Mexican gym. He said he was taught the Mexican style. He's an Antonio Margarito. Slightly more athletic, slightly athletic. You know what I'm saying? He just got, he's just brown skinned, man. He's just brown skinned. But he's got darker skin than Antonio Margarito. But if you look at Antonio Margarito and look at his style mirrors Errol Spence's style. I'm not saying that they fight exactly alike, but they fight similar. The DNA of their fighting style is exactly the same. Attack the body and pressure, come forward. Break your man down because you're bigger and you're stronger than your man. Antonio Margarito was the same way. He was the bully in the welterweight division. He was bigger and stronger than everybody. Shane Mosley pushed him back, banged him out of there, and knocked him out. That's what happened to Antonio Margarito. He was called a boogeyman. Ask Floyd. Floyd was sitting right there looking around, and Margarito walked up on him and said, when you going to fight me? And he said, I'm going to fight you. And then after that, Floyd, for the next 20 minutes, Floyd was looking around antsy in the seat. So, like I told y'all, Errol Spence is a basic fighter. The best thing he got going for him is going to the body. And I told y'all, a skilled fighter can counter a person that goes to the body. A skilled fighter can counter you if you're not flinching because of the guy going to your body. If you sit there and counter the guy when he's going to your body, guess what? He stopped going to the body, or he's going to get hurt. And that's what Terence Crawford said. Don't be trying that two-fisted body stuff. He has studied Errol Spence. I told y'all again, another thing. Terence Crawford already know how to fight Errol Spence. Errol Spence has to figure out how to beat Terence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't know if he got to go find Terence Crawford. He don't know if Terence Crawford going to fight on his front foot, his back foot. He don't know what Terence Crawford going to do. But we know what Errol Spence needs and have to do to be successful. Because he cannot sit there and box with Terence Crawford for 12 rounds. Because he's going to get picked apart and eventually he's going to get knocked out because he's going to get hit by a punch that he doesn't see. Let me see what people saying. Spence is a clown, man. He's a clown because of this reason. He's not. See, when you a boogeyman and you a tough man, you have to be tough in all situations. See, look, man, I grew up around tough guys, and I grew up around people that walked around with their chest stuck out and act like they was tough and talk about how tough they are. But see, they are situational tough. They only tough in a situation that benefits them, or they have the upper hand. Like when they got a lot of people behind them, or they're 18 or 19 years old and they want to push up on a 13-year-old. You know what I'm saying? I've been around those type of guys, man. And I'm telling you, when the rubber meets the road, most people that walk around saying that they tough, they not really tough, man. Because real tough dudes don't walk around saying that they tough. They know they tough. They don't have to promote it. They don't have to put it out there. They don't have to call themselves the boogeyman. They don't have to do all that stuff. Situational tough guys. I'm telling you. Just like the Charlo brother. I forgot which one, Jamel or Jamal, one of them. You remember he was in the hallway talking about Danny Jacobs, and then when Danny Jacobs walked, see, I'm gonna tell y'all, this is the prime example. When Danny Jacobs walked up on him, his whole tone changed. Before Danny Jacobs showed up, he was talking all this tough stuff. Yeah, I got Brooklyn in my blood and all this stuff. And then when Danny Jacobs walked up and Danny Jacobs looked at him eye to eye like a man supposed to, and get off of Twitter and get off of all this social media stuff and go to a man face to face, it's all of a sudden it's different. Things are different when you can look at a man's eyes. It's different. That Charlo brother knew that Danny Jacobs meant what he said. And like I told y'all, it's situational tough guys. Spence is a joke, is a clown, because he's not doing the same thing that he's doing against Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, and an injured Keith Thurman. He's not going at Crawford like he was going at those guys. And Errol Spence said, once again, he clarified it. So the world, we all know, he's his own boss. That's what he said. So he doesn't need Al Heyman. He doesn't need Lou DiBella. He doesn't need all them other guys. He can make his own fights. And guess what his fight schedule is? He said Manny Pacquiao, Sean Porter. He already got Mikey Garcia. And he said Keith Thurman. So he put 4 fighters in front of Terrence Crawford. So that's 2 years away. Do the math, man. These guys are not fighting that much every year. That could be 3 years away. Errol Spence is basic, man. Sean Porter will give Errol Spence hell. Sean Porter might beat Errol Spence. I keep telling people, don't look past Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. I know Keith Thurman can beat him. All Keith Thurman got to do is just get back in the ring, get back active, get his skills back polished. Keith Thurman can beat him. We might get it in 2019. No. We won't get Terrence Crawford versus Keith Thurman. I mean, we won't get Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence in 2019. It's not going to happen. You said the same thing about Mayweather and Pacquiao. Spence will beat Crawford. Oh, yeah. But how did that fight turn out between Mayweather and Pacquiao? Mayweather did not want to engage. He did not want to engage. He did everything he wanted. He did everything to avoid contact. Mayweather is the ultimate contact avoider. He held Manny Pacquiao to like dear life in that fight a lot. And the telltale sign about that fight is, if you listen to it in the corner, you listen to Mayweather Sr. in the corner, Mayweather Sr. said, man, you act like you scared of this man. So don't bring up the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight like Mayweather went in there and dominated Pacquiao. He didn't. He went in there and avoided as much confrontation as possible. I agree. Spence isn't a boss. Hey, Spence said he's a boss. You know what I'm saying? Porter will give Spence big problems. Yeah, the style. One thing about Sean Porter is, the reason why I know Keith Thurman can handle Spence is because Sean Porter actually fights in a big man welterweight strong style. He actually pushes up on you. He actually hits you everywhere. He pushes shoulder on you. He bull rushes you. He actually fights in the style that everybody wishes, and everybody keeps saying that Spence is this big crusher at 147. No, he's not. He's not a power puncher at 147. Errol Spence is a grinder. He grinds you down round after round. That's what he does. Tito Trinidad was a power puncher at 147. De La Hoya was even a power puncher at 147. More than Errol Spence. Spence going to hurt Sean, though. I don't know if Spence going to hurt Sean Porter. I want to see it. I want to see the fight actually happen. I don't know if he's going to hurt Sean Porter. One thing I know, Sean Porter is a big welterweight himself. Sean Porter actually has some fights. I believe Sean Porter had some fights at 160 in the beginning of his career. If I'm not mistaken, I know he had some fights at 154, but I actually believe Sean Porter has some fights at 160, if I'm not mistaken. But Sean Porter is a big welterweight himself. Sean Porter can go up to 160 and compete at 160. Why Sean Porter don't want to make the fight then? Sean Porter has obligations to fight Keith Thurman. I keep telling, listen, y'all, listen. Look, I'm not going to beat the drum on this. Sean Porter knew once he won that vacant WBC title that he had obligations on that belt. That's why he said what he said in the press conference. He said he has a couple mandatories. But the real thing is Keith Thurman, the WBC, Keith Thurman relinquished the WBC title so they can fight, so Sean Porter and Danny Garcia can fight for it. Because y'all remember, in the beginning, the WBC had made Danny Garcia and Sean Porter Keith Thurman's mandatory. So they were saying that Keith Thurman had to fight both of them, that they both, and I was saying to myself, I made a video saying, why don't the WBC have Sean Porter and Danny Garcia fight each other? But it was reports that Danny Garcia was not going to fight Sean Porter without a belt on the line. So Keith Thurman relinquished the belt. The WBC said Keith Thurman is going to be the champion in recess. When he comes back, he's going to be able to fight for that title whenever he wants to fight for that title. That means he can trump anybody. He can trump Spence. He can trump anybody and fight. He can trump Crawford and fight for his belt back. That's why Sean Porter cannot fight Errol Spence right now. And Keith Thurman wants a tune-up, so therefore Sean Porter is taking he's taking his tune-up and he fighting Ugas, and then they're going to fight each other after that. That's why Sean Porter cannot fight Errol Spence right now. They know what we don't know, so we can only speculate. But if you're a person that can put two and two things together, you can get closer to the truth. But some of y'all, I don't know, man. Some of y'all so emotional about these fighters. Y'all act like y'all gonna get some money from these fighters, or y'all gonna get a call from these fighters. These fighters gonna do what they want to do, man. And when you think a fighter is this way, he's actually another way. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think Errol Spence is the boogeyman, but actually he's not the boogeyman, because he blatantly ducked this man in his face by saying, I'm gonna fight 4 other people and then maybe I can get to you. But I'm the one that told you if you get that belt from Jeff Horn. Y'all want me to pull up the audio when Errol Spence said get that belt from Jeff Horn, then you can fight me? Because Terrence Crawford brought it up in front of his face. He said, you told me to get a belt. Now I got a belt. Now you over here. I'm on the other side of the street. Come on, man. Errol Spence is a fake boogeyman. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is, man. Y'all got to accept it. No, I'm not going to play both sides of the road with these two fighters. No. One fighter want to fight, the other fighter want to postpone it for 2 years. And that's what it is. That's the truth. I'm not going to coattail nobody. I'm not going to try to make somebody feel good about the situation. The situation is this. Errol Spence is ducking. And until he get in the ring with Terrence Crawford, I'm going to call him duck down. It's not man down anymore. It's duck down, because he's going to get in the crowd and duck down. And that's just what it is, man. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I wanted to speak my piece on it, man. That man is ducking. He's ducking. Finally, a channel that isn't LDBC. I mean, not all of them people that's associated with the LDBC. Not all of them are Spence fanboys. It's a lot of people up in there that like Terrence Crawford. It's a lot of people in there like Errol Spence. I mean, I don't care. I don't care about the different cliques and this and that and this and that. All I know is this: the man is ducking. He's ducking. This is a duck. Like I've seen ducks before, but this is the duck, man. Man up, duck down. Yep. Man up, duck down. I'm gonna stay on Errol Spence's neck because of the simple fact is this. You're not gonna try to bleed me for money. I'm not trying to pay for these dudes pay-per-view. I'm not trying to pay for Terrence Crawford pay-per-view. Even though I like Terrence Crawford, I'm not trying to pay for his pay-per-view. I'm not trying to pay for Keith Thurman pay-per-view. I'm not trying to pay for Sean Porter pay-per-view. I'm trying to get the fight as cheap as I can get the fight. I done paid for too many pay-per-views over the years. Over the last 10 years, I paid for too many pay-per-views. I'm not going to wait 3 and 4 years because these guys want to try to break the bank. I want the fights for free. Period. I don't want to pay for anything. And I'm going to see I'm not going to pay for none of this crap. I'm going to see the fight my way. I'm going to see the fight. But yeah, man, I just wanted to speak my piece, man. It is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? The cat is out the bag. Errol Spence let the cat out the bag. Like I said, if you let a man talk enough, eventually he's going to tell the truth. Eventually the truth gonna come out, man. Because a man can't lie to himself too long, man. This man said, I'm gonna take the easy route. Why not take the easy route and fight Sean Porter? That's what he said. And you can't twist the words. You can't say, oh, Errol Spence meant this. No, that man said what he said in a calm way. He said, why not take the easy route? So he understands that Terrence Crawford is a problem. He understands that man is a problem. Fred Thomas, your message got retracted. I don't know what happened to your message, but it got retracted. I mean, you can write it again. Yeah, no pay-per-view. I'm not, and these people, it's people out here actually promoting pay-per-view. Oh man, they want this fight on pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they deserve this fight to be on pay-per-view. They trying to make their money. I don't care what they trying to make. These guys are already millionaires. I'm not trying to make you no more money. Like I told you, I didn't put enough money into boxing. It's time for me to get it how I want to get it now. Now, y'all can think y'all can turn this to a Pacquiao Mayweather thing. It's not gonna happen. And you know what I'm saying? It's people already saying, well, it is what it is. No, put your foot on their throats like you put your foot on Joshua's throat, like you put your foot on Keith Thurman's throat, like you put your foot on Sean Porter's throat. Y'all put y'all foot on those guys' throats. Put your foot on Errol Spence's throat. Oh, it's because he's not what you thought he was. See, everybody trying to correlate this with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman had an injury. Keith Thurman had a legitimate injury. And then, Keith Thurman got married. I believe Keith Thurman took an extra 6 months off. Yeah, the man got married. He wanted to spend time with his wife. I mean, he could have said that's what he wanted to do because that's that man's life. Let that man do what he want to do. That's that man's life. But Keith Thurman is not in the same realm of he's ducking somebody. Everybody's trying to say that man ducking because that man injured. No, he's coming back. He's going to fight. Errol Spence was supposed to have been the... See, a lot of people latched on to Errol Spence that was Mayweather fans because Keith Thurman was on Mayweather's neck about fighting him. Y'all remember the timeline? Because I remember the timeline, man. I've been in this YouTube thing for a long time, over about 5 years. I've been here for about 5 years at least. And I've been through all the conversations. I had so many we had so many back channel conversations with just about all these channels in the YouTube. So I know where everybody stands and all this stuff. So, they can go on their videos and say what they want to say, but I didn't have hours and hours of conversations with people. Our best conversations are not even on. We didn't even tape our best conversations. We had some crazy conversations behind closed doors with a lot of people in the YouTube community. And Keith Thurman was calling out Mayweather, was calling out Pacquiao. You know what Mayweather did? He put his arms around Errol Spence and said, Keith Thurman, you have to fight Errol Spence. Because y'all remember, or at one point, Errol Spence was calling out Mayweather. I know a lot of people forget that. But I remember when Errol Spence called out Mayweather several times. And in that same interview, this was the fight after, I think this was the fight. Yeah, this was the fight after, was it the fight after McDonough beat Adrian Broner? I may be getting it mixed up, but it was after Adrian Broner lost that Floyd Mayweather put his arms around Errol Spence. Because Adrian Broner was supposed to be that dude. But Adrian Broner went off course and fought McDonough. And remember that tweet that Mayweather sent and said, see, I told Adrian Broner not to fight McDonough. I told him stick to the plan because they got a plan. But Adrian Broner went outside the plan because he wanted to test himself. But he went outside the plan. But in that same interview that Mayweather put his arms around Spence and told Spence to fight, that Keith Thurman got to fight Spence, Mayweather said, yeah, and I wish you stopped calling me out. So what Mayweather was doing was using Spence as a pawn to put a roadblock in between Keith Thurman and himself. That's what he was doing. See, that's what people like. That's the snake stuff that people like Floyd Mayweather does. You know, you got to go fight. You got to go beat somebody else before you fight me. He told Pacquiao, before you get a rematch with me, you got to fight Adrian Broner. See, this is the type of stuff that happens, man. This is the type of stuff that, you know, snake little dudes do, man. You got to go fight somebody else before you fight me. You got to go beat somebody else up before you beat me. It's like somebody saying, hey, you got to beat up my little brother before you fight me. But, you know, like I said, man, a lot of people got excited about that face-to-face yesterday. And I'm glad, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad a lot of people got what they wanted. These two dudes was face-to-face. Now we know where they stand. Now we know that Errol Spence is ducking Terrence Crawford. And that's it. It doesn't mean that 100% Terrence Crawford going to win the fight because Errol Spence is ducking him right now. What it does mean is somebody worried about not being able to win the fight. And they want to try to, you know what I'm saying, get as much as they can before they have to go into that fight. Because he told y'all, why should I not take the easy route? So he's saying, Terrence Crawford, you the hard route. I'm going to take the easy route and then I get to you. You are spot on with Mayweather and his you gotta fight so before fight me. Yeah. That's what he says, man. That's what he says all the time, man. I think as 2018, 2019, Bud Crawford is the best welterweight, including Thurman. Right now, Thurman is still the best welterweight. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be 100. Thurman is still the best welterweight. And nobody really moved the needle since Thurman was gone for them 2 years. I mean, Crawford moved the needle when he came up, of course, because he coming up from another weight class. So Crawford did move the needle. But Spence didn't move the needle. Who the hell Spence fought in the 2 years Thurman was gone? Who? Lamont Peterson and Ocampos? Come on, man. Are you serious? Are you really serious? You know what Errol Spence should have did? Because guess what? You say Keith Thurman is injured because you started winning, so Keith Thurman got injured, and you said that Sean Porter don't want to fight you, Danny Garcia don't want to fight you. Why don't you go up to 154 and fight Jarrett Hurd then and come back down and continue your mission on to being the welterweight undisputed champion? Because I know Sugar Ray Leonard did it, and before he fought Thomas Hearns, he went up to 154, fought Kalu, won that belt, came back down, and became undisputed. So don't tell me you can't do it. Don't tell me somebody chasing you out of the division. No, ain't nobody chasing you out of the division. You could have went up to 154 and fought Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd calling you out too. Jarrett Hurd said he want that work. Jarrett Hurd calling you out. So you should have said, hey, Jarrett Hurd is a unified champion too. So you could have had a chance to enhance your legacy by going up there being a unified champion at 154. But you looking at the one, no, but you licking your chops at the 147-pound division and saying I'm too big for these guys. See, that's what you banking on. And I look, like I keep telling you, just being big is not going to be enough to beat Terrence Crawford. Just being big is not going to be enough to beat Keith Thurman. Just being big is not going to be enough to beat Sean Porter. You're going to actually have to go in there with some skill and be able to beat those guys. You're not going to be able to just, you're not going to run through those guys. Spence isn't the best. No, he's not the best welterweight. Spence is not the best welterweight, man. Who? Okay, Spence beat Kell Brook at welterweight. Who else he beat at welterweight that was in any significance? Don't bring up Chris Algieri, because I remember when Manny Pacquiao fought Chris Algieri 3-4 years ago, knocked Chris Algieri down 5 or 6 times. Even before that fight, I remember everybody killing Manny Pacquiao, talking about, why are you fighting Chris Algieri? I even killed Manny Pacquiao and said, why are you fighting Chris Algieri? I don't want to see that. So don't bring up Chris Algieri. But, hey, Spence uses Chris Algieri for his resume. He uses Chris Algieri as a spotlight on his resume. You use Chris Algieri, who's right now, I mean, he's coming back, but he was Danny Jacobs' nutritionist. Is that the same Chris Algieri you using? Spence is going to wait for her to move up to 160. Yeah. What's up, man? What's up? I told you I was going live, man. I had to kill Spence on this because I looked at that E-News, Ellie Setback full video of Terence Crawford and Errol Spence face-to-face. But when he was naming the opponents, I missed that he did say Manny Pacquiao, because Errol Spence, Crawford leaned in and said, did Al Heyman say anything about me? And then here go Errol Spence. No, he said, I can fight Manny Pacquiao. I'm fighting Mikey Garcia. I can fight Keith Thurman. And I can fight Sean Porter. So... and then I get around to you if anything, if I can get there. Bud said, how you... Yeah. Bud said, how you the boogeyman and I'm chasing you. Like I told y'all, when you look at Michael Myers, you don't see people chasing Michael. You see Michael Myers chasing everybody else scattering. You know what I'm saying? But Terence Crawford ain't he's not scattering. Errol Spence baking on that he's bigger. Man, you can't... in boxing, yes, size... I'm going to tell y'all when size really matters. Let me break this down to you. Let me break something down to y'all. I know some people in here know boxing. I ain't saying y'all don't know boxing. But I'm going to tell you when size matter. When you got a guy that's 135 pounds, because y'all remember, we didn't have a 140-pound division at first. That's 140-pound division is not a regular division. It's not a traditional division. You know what I'm saying? So fighters actually used to go from 135 to 147 and fight. So... let's just say a guy at 135, very skillful, very good. Then you got a guy at welterweight, very good, very skillful. If neither one of them have any significant, let me reiterate this. If they don't have any significant advantages over any one of them in the 147-pounder and the 135-pounder, then the size will come into effect, because the size will be the last thing that's left. Then, yes, the size will come into effect. Now, and that's only depending on how the guy with the size uses his size. Because I keep telling people, Errol Spence doesn't use his size. He's not a physical fighter. He doesn't push up on you. He doesn't lean on you like Klitschko. He doesn't push your head down. He doesn't grab you. He doesn't hold you. He doesn't do none of that stuff to drain the smaller fighter. That's how you drain a small fighter. You hold him. You clutch him, you push him around, you be physical with him. The person that is actually physical in the ring and actually does that is Sean Porter. Sean Porter is what people say that Errol Spence is. Sean Porter actually fights in that style. That's why when I told people Sean Porter was going to be the hardest fight for Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman passed that test. Sean Porter was going to push Keith Thurman past anything anybody else at welterweight can push him physically and mentally, because that's a mental toll too. When you in the ring with a guy that fights in the matter that Sean Porter fights in, if your mental is not together, I don't care how skillful you are, he's gonna beat you. He may steamroll you. He may steamroll you. But you seen that Keith Thurman not only had the skills to handle Sean Porter, he had the mental capacity to handle Sean Porter. I would love to see Terrence Crawford fight Sean Porter and see how he will handle Sean Porter. That's what I would like to see. Skills pay the bills, man. Shane took Margarito's sides away. He took his sides away from him. It's ways that you can take guys' sides away from him and just. I'll be back later though. Hey Zone, if you can get on later, man, I'm gonna try to get Hyplo and I'm gonna try to get Rollo later. If you can get on later. But let me know though. I'm out, y'all.